Shelton Benjamin rejects female superstar's offer to join her after the Hurt Business breakup. What Becky Lynch told Seth Rollins when he stopped using Twitter, and WrestleMania 37 COVID safety rules revealed. Hello everyone, Jose G here bringing you today's top stories in today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. Shelton Benjamin rejects female superstar's offer to join her after the Hurt Business's breakup. Shelton Benjamin has rejected WWE superstar Mia Yim's offer to join her following the Hurt Business's breakup. Mia Yim is well aware of the fact that WWE veteran Shelton Benjamin is no longer a member of the Hurt Business. Benjamin and Cedric Alexander were humiliated by Bobby Lashley in the opening segment of last week's Monday Night Raw. The segment ended with the duo being thrown out of the faction, and a lot of fans aren't happy about it. Mia Yim recently took to Twitter to engage in a conversation with Shelton Benjamin. Yim posted a GIF directed towards Benjamin and asked him to join her. Benjamin's response was a GIF as well, in which he joked that he would rather die than join forces with her. Yim later responded with yet another GIF. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander's waning careers were given fresh starts when the duo joined the Hurt Business last year. The stable ran roughshod over several WWE superstars on the Red brand and turned Bobby Lashley into a huge star. Lashley went on to win the WWE title by defeating The Miz on an episode of Raw and is scheduled to defend the belt against former WWE champion Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 37. Shelton Benjamin and Alexander were not happy after being let go by the group and posted tweets expressing their disappointment. Sami Zayn believes WWE have hired bots to bury his documentary. Sami Zayn had the red carpet premiere for the trailer of his documentary on the most recent episode of SmackDown. The trailer itself was received well by fans, but now the Great Liberator is convinced that WWE is trying to bury his documentary completely. He is certain that WWE has hired bots and is using classic memes of Sami Zayn dancing skills to take the attention away from the documentary. The former Intercontinental Champion voiced his concerns via Twitter, explaining just how big this new piece of information could mean in his crusade to prove the conspiracy against him. The meme in question is a GIF of Sami Zayn dancing to the theme music that his special guest Logan Paul was introduced with. There is no news as to when Sami Zayn will release the full documentary, but before he can even think about setting a date, he will have to defeat Kevin Owens. The two men will do battle at WrestleMania 37, where Zayn will have YouTuber Logan Paul in his corner. Hopefully by the time he is done with Kevin Owens, WWE won't have made much headway in the attempts to bury his documentary. Sami Zayn has enlisted the services of YouTube sensation Logan Paul to prove the relevance of his documentary. Before his appearance on SmackDown, the two men were exchanging messages via Twitter, with Zayn even sending some exclusive footage to Logan Paul. However, after now seeing the trailer of Sami Zayn's documentary, Paul is expressing some doubts. There are certainly a few discrepancies between what Sami Zayn has claimed and the footage he has released. What Becky Lynch told Seth Rollins when he stopped using Twitter. Seth Rollins recently opened up about Becky Lynch convincing him to use Twitter again following a short hiatus from the social media app. WWE superstar Seth Rollins was a guest on the latest edition of Out of Character with Ryan Satin. The former Universal Champion spoke in detail about he had deleted Twitter from his phone at one point. It was his partner Becky Lynch who encouraged him to start using the app again, saying, quote, I hate social media. I really dislike it, and I had deleted the Twitter app from my phone for the better part of a few months just because to me, it created a real toxic environment in my own head. And as I was becoming a new father, I needed to not waste my time on that. And so it was actually my fiance, my wife, who kind of was like, you should think about it. I know you hate it. I know you don't like being on the apps and all that, but you should think about it. And I was like, I kind of looked around, no one was really doing it, so I was like, the hell with it. I'll give it a shot and see what happens. Response has been pretty good so far, end quote. Seth Rollins received major backlash on social media back in 2019. It began when Seth Rollins heaped praise on himself during the WWE Stomping Grounds event and received a response from Will Ospreay. Rollins and Ospreay then kicked off a Twitter debate, which saw then the Universal Champion call Ricochet a better version of Will Ospreay. Rollins later crossed the line and compared bank accounts with Ospreay. This was the moment that turned a lot of fans against him. Seth Rollins was on the receiving end of a major social media backlash following the exchange. He later apologized to Ospreay on Twitter, but the trolling didn't stop there. Rollins wasn't as active on Twitter last year as he once used to be, but the man convinced him to start using the app again. Rollins is currently quite active on Twitter and is using the social media app to put over his new persona on SmackDown. Rollins can usually be found praising himself in character and berating his opponents on his Twitter account. Becky Lynch isn't active on social media as she used to be, but occasionally pops up with a post or two. WWE Hall of Famer makes a bold claim about Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman's WrestleMania match. WWE superstar Braun Strowman is set to lock horns with Shane McMahon inside a steel cage at WrestleMania 37. The two have been feuding on Raw, and WWE Hall of Famer Booker T believes that Shane is attempting something that no one else has done before. He believes that Shane wants a memorable match out of Strowman at the upcoming pay-per-view. Booker T discussed the ongoing storyline on the latest edition of the Hall of Fame podcast and asserted that Strowman doesn't have a memorable match in WWE. He further insisted that Shane McMahon is trying to change that, saying, quote, "I think Shane is trying something here. Shane is trying to do something with Braun Strowman, perhaps that no one else has, and that's get something out of him that no one else has gotten out of Braun Strowman as well." Let's just think about Braun Strowman matches. How many of them do you really remember and say, man, you remember that Braun Strowman match with such and such? How many of them? I can't think of one, okay? You can't really think of a moment that Braun Strowman has really had inside the squared circle as not just the monster among men, but as a wrestler. Having that memorable moment, that match, that man was so over the top. I think that's what Shane McMahon is trying to do more than anything. Take Braun Strowman to a place that perhaps not one of the boys on the roster could take him. End quote. Booker T believes that Shane McMahon could bring out the best in Braun Strowman and give him an unforgettable match. Given that both Shane and Strowman will be locked inside the steel structure, the WWE creative will have ample opportunities to book a few jaw-dropping spots. Booker T has high hopes for Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon's upcoming WrestleMania match. They were previously scheduled to lock horns at WWE Fastlane, but Shane slithered his way out by faking an injury. Strowman is adamant about brutalizing them, and they could engage in an interesting segment on the last episode of Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. The Miz sent a special Easter message to Bad Bunny. April 4th is Easter Sunday, and many WWE superstars, including The Miz, enjoy celebrating the holiday. As part of his celebration, the A-lister sent a special message to his WrestleMania 37 opponent, Bad Bunny. The Miz posted a GIF on his Instagram account wishing everyone a happy Easter and simultaneously sending a warning to the Puerto Rican rapper. The GIF was none other than The Miz's gruesome guitar hit on Bad Bunny, which left the Grammy Award winner writhing in pain. The former WWE champion did not forget to add the Easter touch by adding some bunny ears to his head. The Miz and Bad Bunny will battle at WrestleMania, and the Awesome One just wanted to give his opponent a festive message before their match. The Miz clearly plans on beating Bad Bunny both in the ring and in the rap game as well, showcasing some of his rhymes in his recent Instagram post. The match itself will be an interesting one to watch, as it will be Bad Bunny's in-ring debut. Both men will be flanked by their good friends, as The Miz will have John Morrison in his corner, while Bad Bunny will be accompanied by Damian Priest. The Miz wants to show Bad Bunny that he is better than him in every possible way. The A-lister took his first step in doing that on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw by releasing his first rap single with John Morrison, Hey Hey Hop Hop, had the worldwide premiere of its music video on last week's Raw. The Miz and Bad Bunny have been exchanging jabs and blows over the past few weeks. They clearly do not like each other and must settle their differences inside the squared circle. WWE WrestleMania 37 COVID safety rules revealed. WWE has released a list of rules that must be adhered to by all attendees of WrestleMania 37 in the interest of COVID-19 safety. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, a set of 6 specific rules have been passed on to those who will be in attendance at the grandest stage of them all. These rules range from simple instruction regarding wearing of masks inside a stadium to the legality of certain circumstances that may arise as a result of attending the event. Masks are required at all times unless you are in your seat eating or drinking. You are not allowed to gather in common areas with people in places like the concourse. All food and drink transactions will be cashless. They will have reverse ATM machines to use if you have cash. You can put the cash into the machine and it will give you a debit card you can use. No bags are allowed in the stadium. You must sign a waiver that holds WWE, Raymond James Stadium, and the city of Tampa and everyone else harmless if you catch COVID at the show, even if it's due to the negligence of any of those parties. This waiver is standard across boards these days, as has been noted in The Observer from Mania and other events. With fans set to return to WWE event for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic, those attending will surely be looking to stick to those rules as closely as possible so they can enjoy WrestleMania to the fullest. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. For more news stories, be sure to follow us on all social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app for the most up-to-date stories in the world of wrestling.